This is for the person who wonders if AI has made them replaceable. Let's talk about it. Hi, my name is Aliciana Alexandria, or Sailor Sunshine is the name of my channel. I am here to talk about being an artist and like how AI could possibly, let's just say possibly, be diminishing the value of art, of our art. Okay. So, I've been thinking a lot about the integrity of AI lately. And it's not because I'm afraid of it, and it's not only because I've been hearing all these accusations online about different things that AI does, but I've been seeing artists say that their music has been stolen, their photos have been used, their artwork has been taken without permission to train AI. And I realized I really didn't know what that meant at the time, so I started asking questions, of course. What does it actually mean when people say AI stole their work? Like, what happened? So, from what I learned, in many cases, artists are talking about their work being used to train AI systems without their knowledge or permission, right? So that means their paintings, their songs, their photographs, their writing, years of creative work became part of these systems and what they learned from without their permission. And now anyone can type a prompt like make something in the style of so and so artist. And seconds later, something appears that feels or really is similar to that artist or that person. So now we have now we have two separate questions. Is it legal, right? And is it ethical? Obviously, those are not the same thing. Legality does not equal authority, and ethics can really vary from person to person. So let's look at history. History has shown us plenty of examples that something can be completely legal and still be deeply unjust. Legality really isn't the question I'm wrestling with, honestly. I'm wrestling with the fairness of it. Because I started thinking, if someone spent 20 years of their life developing a style that they poured their life into, their life experiences, excuse me, um, I'm reading my notes. I'm gonna have to edit this out. That's okay. If someone spent 20 years of their life developing a certain style, a style that they poured their whole life into, their experiences, something that people recognize as them, and now AI software can just generate something that is similar enough to satisfy someone who would have wanted that kind of art, you know? I just feel like that's not fair. I don't know, even if it's not identical, even if an expert couldn't tell the difference, people who pay for AI music, I don't know. I just have a question for you. Let's talk. Because it's not only about money, right? Imagine spending 15 years finding your voice as a singer, or decades becoming known for any certain way of painting or creating. And then one day AI software can imitate the patterns that make your work recognizable. A lot of artists don't see that experience as admiration. They see that as appropriation. Okay, let's talk about it. Let's bring that word back. We used to talk about appropriation all the time. And honestly, I understand why they would see it that way. So I asked myself another question. If AI can make something that looks like my work, did it just diminish the value of it? At first, I wanted to say yes. At first, I thought so. But I realized I'm asking a deeper question. If something becomes easier to produce, then what actually remains valuable? And yes, we know AI doesn't have a soul. So it can't actually make soulful spiritual work in the way a person can. It can imitate things, it can reproduce patterns, it can make something that looks or sounds similar, but if it isn't living the life behind it, then it's not like us. It's not like the art we make. And this isn't even the first time humanity has faced a question like this. Photographers asked this when smartphones came out. Potters asked this when factories started mass producing ceramics. It's actually a crazy example because nobody thinks about that, but another one is Musicians asked this when streaming changed the industry. And so now writers are asking this too, creators, artists. So maybe the real question isn't, can AI make something that looks like my work? Maybe it's, was the value? Hmm, this is the question. What was the value about my work in the first place? And that's when something clicked for me. If AI can make something that looks like my painting or anyone's painting in 30 seconds, I realized it still can't live my life. It can't be that woman who stayed up until 2 in the morning learning color theory. It can't fail 50 times before finding the right brush stroke, you know? It can't notice like flowers on a walk and quietly carry them in their presence to the next piece of life. You know, it can't steward relationships. AI can't make promises. AI doesn't grow. AI doesn't repent. AI doesn't choose. Our work was never just the final stage. It was always the accumulation of us. It was always the accumulation of you as the artist. And then I caught myself thinking something else. Maybe I've accidentally been measuring the value of my own work by something it was never meant to depend on. I've been thinking the value was no one else can make something that looks like this. But if that were true, then another human artist that could become skilled enough to paint similarly to anyone could also diminish the value of their art. So we don't believe that. I don't believe that. We celebrate apprentices from learning from the masters, right? We celebrate artistic movements. We celebrate people inspiring one another. You know, what is Pinterest for? So maybe the deepest value isn't about absolute uniqueness. Maybe it's about authentic authorship. And here's another thought. AI can compress the execution, but it cannot compress the becoming, the process. Becoming patient, becoming observant, becoming wise, becoming compassionate, becoming skilled. All those things take years because they happen inside a person, not inside a processor. And those qualities eventually show up in the work, not because they were programmed in, but because they were lived. Now, don't get me wrong, I of course think artists deserve respect. Consent matters, compensation matters. And I think creators should have a voice in how their work is used. Absolutely. Those conversations are important. But I've also realized something that is freeing me. If my creativity is rooted in faithful stewardship, then no technology can take away the years that shaped me while I was creating. So someone might imitate my product, but they can't imitate my formation. They can't imitate or inherit my obedience. They can't inherit my story. Those things were never downloadable. And that's the reminder I needed. I don't know about you. The artwork is the fruit. The artist is the tree. Technology may imitate the fruit, right? But it cannot become the tree. You are the tree. I am the tree. And maybe that's where our value was all along. Period. Okay. I hope y'all got something from that. It was the seed I planted today. And yeah, have a good one. Bye.